Shotgun with Charlie.
Riding shotgun refers to the practice of sitting next to the driver in a moving vehicle. The term riding shotgun came around after the time of the stagecoach, when somebody used to sit next to the driver holding a shotgun, in case they ran into bandits. My name is Charlie Cook, and I drive a lot. I like to talk to people while I'm driving, so I interview people in my car while I'm driving. Welcome to Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Hey, it is Charlie from Riding Shotgun with Charlie, and I am here in the mobile studios heading out to do an interview. I want to remind you that you should go to asphaliadesigns.com. It's ASFALEIA designs.com. Enter your name and email address for the drawing that they're going to have for the fans of the Riding Shotgun with Charlie show. You can also save 10% if you make a purchase and you put in the discount code RSWC. Asphalia Designs, enter your name, info. The drawing is going to be on January 28th, 2020. So you want to make sure and tune in and make sure you check that out. And we will see you soon. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie. This is another interview that I am doing in Phoenix, Arizona at the Gun Rights Policy Conference. Today I have with me Tomasz. Oh, I screwed it up already.
No, Tomasz. Tomasz is fine.
It's got a Z in it. You got to use the Z.
Yeah, but well, forget it. I use Tomasz on daily basis. No worries.
All right, so we have. Oh, we have an interruption. What's that?
What are you GoProing?
Oh, I do interviews in the car that I call Riding Shotgun with Charlie, and we got 3 cameras in here while we talk, and then 1 there just to see where we're going.
Great. Maybe they ride through the mountains and they
yeah, well, get a little bit of the scenery.
Get the scenery. That's not a bad idea.
It is kind of cool. All right, cool. Thanks, man.
Great day.
All right, so we have a guest appearance from a complete stranger. So we have Tomasz Stepien from
Poland. Firearms United.
Firearms United. That's cool. So how did you, let's talk about how you got into gun stuff, and I think it's going to be super interesting to find out how you ended up in Phoenix, Arizona at the Gun Rights Policy Conference on the other side of the world.
Well, I started with guns when I was still in high school, because we've been living in a world that we still had classes of civil defense. So shooting 22 LR was actually part of our curricula in the school, right?
Oh, wow.
Once per week. So
yeah.
I'm that ancient, right? But then, I've developed a taste. I was shooting here and there. I was traveling a lot, so I didn't have a license, because unfortunately in Europe we do not have a Second Amendment, so we have to ask the government nicely to give us
some permission.
Permission to own guns. About 5 years ago, when I've actually settled down, got back to Poland, I've got my permit fixed, and I've started full throttle on shooting again.
That's cool. What was I thinking? That's how you got into it? That's cool?
Yep.
You started shooting at 22. And you've been shooting for a long time, but you said in the last 5 years is when you really got involved with stuff more?
Yeah, absolutely. Because, again, there are certain regulations in Europe, and for example in Poland now you have to participate in the minimum required amount of competitions per year to upkeep your permits, right? So when I was traveling the world, that was hard for me to keep up with all those stuff, so I didn't have the paperwork. Once I settled and I knew that I'm gonna stay in Poland and work in Poland, then it wasn't that much hassle, so I started to regularly compete and keep up my papers, right? So that was about 5 years ago.
So you had to keep I'm so confused. It's confusing. You have to have a permit to have it.
Yeah.
But if you have it, you have to use it by competing.
Well, depends, because you have different kinds of permits. You can have a permit for hunting, but then you can use the guns only for hunting. You can have a permit for sport shooting, and then you have to participate in the minimum required amount of competitions per year. You can have a permit for self-defense and so on and so on. So
do you have to participate in self-defense?
No. Fortunately, no. But but the system is screwed from the perspective that you have to actually show the government the reason why you want to have a gun, which is abhorrent to me. I mean, why should I? Why should I?
Completely. Why should I have to get permission? Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Completely. So, 5 years ago, and you said you didn't start a group, but you had a group that was...
No, I mean, there was a group started by a good friend of mine, Darek Dura, which was called Firearms United at that time, which was promoting gun ownership, firearms shooting. I mean, our culture, basically, our DNA, right?
Yeah.
And in 2015, after terrorist attacks in Paris, Charlie Hebdo and the Baclavan, the European Commission, in the typical knee-jerk reaction, decided to do something with the terrorists. So they started to push up the regulation for law-abiding citizens, which have nothing to do with terrorists.
Right.
Usual, right? And as far as they went really, really deeply into our rights, we decided to push back. And the Firearms United, which was there already, was a natural platform for us to push back. And that's what we did. That's how we built up the organization, which is right now the fastest growing European firearms coalition in the whole Europe, representing the interests of 15 million law-abiding citizens.
That's cool.
I mean, we don't have 15 million members, don't get me wrong, right? But we represent the interests of 15 million people.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. A lot of people talk about how, here in the United States, we've got the pro-gun groups, the NRAs and the Second Amendment foundations and the Gun Owners of America and stuff. And it's interesting to hear from people that, because a lot of times you hear, well, these people need a pro-gun group, and you guys have one, which is pretty wild.
Absolutely.
I had I make videos playing the trumpet and shooting a gun at the same time, and I had someone from Australia contact me, and they're like, these are cool, these are great, whatever you guys do up there, this is what I think I want to do. I know I don't want to get on 17. I'm breaking all the laws here. I've never been pulled over, and I don't want to start today. But that's okay. So I had a guy from Australia say, hey, listen, you know what? I'm in Australia. We had our guns taken away from us. Don't give them up, man. Whatever you do, don't give them up. And I'm like, that's cool to hear from other parts of the world.
Yep.
So what is, you don't have 15 million people, but you'd love to get 15 million people.
Oh, absolutely. Any given day, right?
Yeah, of course. What kind? Do you guys have is there a membership to be in the?
Yeah, there is a membership for both organizations, which are our primary focus, because we want to be an umbrella for organizations. I mean, we have. So let me rewind. We have 27 different countries with a different legal regulations. So from the perspective of the Firearms United network, we are unable to dive deeply into regulation in each of the countries without having people on the ground who've been living with them. So we're trying to create an umbrella for all the local organizations to work together, exchange the information, and present the common front against the European Commission in Brussels. That's what we do. So we are primarily open for the membership for organizations, but we also welcome individuals to join us.
Gotcha. I would imagine the gun laws in each of the countries are not the same.
No, they're not. They're very different.
Wow. So what do you have to, is there a process? Is there a training requirement to get a permit in Poland?
Yeah, I mean, again, the most popular and the fastest growing kind of a permit these days in Poland is sport shooting.
Sport shooting,
we have an increase about 40% year over year, which is humongous.
That is huge.
You have to join a shooting club. You have to spend 3 months of a membership to get the basic trainings on the safety and shooting the guns.
Okay.
Then you have to go through an examination, which is practical shooting and the knowledge of the current legal regulations. Then you have to go through a doctor's evaluation, psychological evaluation, and you have all the paperwork in place. Then you simply submit them to the police, and they have to issue you a permit within 30 days.
That seems like a pain in the ass, but you know what? There are in some states in Massachusetts, where I'm from. In some states, there's a lot of the same sort of stuff, which is crazy.
Yeah, it is. And again, the thing is that for us, this is a everyday living, right? Because we don't have a Second Amendment. When I hear the stories that you have the similar stuff with the Second Amendment, that's something which is mind-boggling for me, because it shouldn't be.
It's mind-boggling for us too, I gotta tell you. Wow. So what kind of shooting do you like to do?
Oh, I do usually dynamic shooting, kind of a military style with the poppers and
Oh, cool.
pyro stuff. So
Pyro stuff?
Yeah, pyro. When you have the fireworks in the sense on the targets which are actually shooting back at you.
That's pretty cool.
Yep.
That is pretty cool.
I mean, I'll try to go as real life as possible in simulations.
That's awesome. That is way cool. What kind of guns can you guys have over there?
Well, I mean, on the sports shooting, pretty much everything. I mean, there is a limitation on the caliber, which we cannot go above 12 millimeters, which is 0.46, 0.47 inch, right? So half an inch is off limits, right?
Okay.
But
so 45 or a 44?
45 is okay, yeah. I have like a 3 or 4 pieces in 45 ACP.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. How did you find out about the Gun Rights Policy Conference?
Well, that's my second time when I'm here, right?
Yeah.
The first time here was 2 years ago.
Was in Tampa?
No, I can't remember. It wasn't Tampa. It was something else. Never mind. I mean,
okay.
I was actually approached by Alan, because I was attending the NRA convention earlier that year, and somehow I got in touch with Alan Gottlieb.
Wow.
And he told me, why don't you come over to talk about what's happening in Europe? And I said, well, I'm your man, right?
Right.
And
that's pretty cool when the big cheese invites you over.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I'm here, right? I deeply believe that there are certain similarities in the behavior of the gun grabbers in the US and Europe, and we need to exchange those. There are some lessons you've been through and we can learn from you. There is some stuff which is happening in Europe at the moment which will come to you sooner or later. So we need to exchange intelligence. We need to be ready. We need to be prepared.
Man, that's really cool. That's good. I think it's interesting that in the grand scheme of things, that people, hundreds of years ago, people left Europe to have something different, and then the way they established the United States and America, and then over the last couple of years, we have more people that are wanting to go back to, well, we should do it in Europe. Then we're not in Europe. We don't know. They have a Europe. We already have a Europe.
Yeah.
If you like the way they do things there, go ahead and go there. That's fine. Do what you need to do. But yeah, it's
from the family stories, my great-great-grandmother was born in Akron, Ohio. 1870 something. I'm not kidding you.
Gosh.
And
you don't sound like you're from Ohio.
I don't know how the Ohio sounds. Never been there, right? So, but the story is, and that's a funny thing, because I was just checking some family papers years ago, and I found birth certificate which says place of birth Akron, Ohio, and I said, well, that's clearly a mistake, right? So I started to dig out, but it turns out that my family actually moved to the U.S. in the beginning of the 19th century, and they've been living here for 3 generations or 4 generations. 1918, after the World War I was finished and Poland regained the independence, they just moved back.
Wow.
They went back to Poland, right? So
they thought everything would be okay.
Yeah, it wasn't, but that's the way it is.
That's pretty wild.
So yeah, I have some connections. Akron, Ohio.
Akron, Ohio. Have you met Amanda Suffolk?
No.
Amanda and her brother Rob have this great show. I love Rob and Amanda. They have this show called Eye on the Target Radio, and they are they're from the Akron area.
Okay, cool.
They have a nationally syndicated radio show. We should see if we're going to try to connect you with them.
Cool, thank you.
That would be totally hysterical to be like, my name is Tomasz. I'm from Poland. My great grandparents are from Akron.
Yeah. So
right.
the world is full of surprises.
It totally is. So I have a Poland story.
Okay.
In 1995, I was living with some friends outside of Boston, and they said, "Hey, you're coming to Poland with us. We go every year." I rented a room from these people. The mother, the woman, she's Polish, like first generation American from Poland, and her husband's first generation Italian from his parents are from Italy. So they're both Americans. They have these ties to Italy and Poland, and they travel all over the world all the time. So they said to me, they're like, "Hey, we're going to teach conversational English in Poland. You're going to come with us." I'm like, I'm a stupid American. I'm like, I don't even know where Poland is. I know it's somewhere over there. I know it's in Europe. And so we went. We flew from Boston to London. I had a hangover in London. I don't mean a layover. I had a hangover.
Okay. Yep.
And then we went to. We landed in Warsaw. We stayed at a convent, and then we went to this little town called Szynica. And I was there for 2 weeks teaching conversational English to these high school age kids. I in my previous life, I'm a musician.
Okay.
And I'm such a geek. This is before the internet. I hand wrote letters to the people I was a member of the International Trombone Association. I hand wrote letters to all these trombone players in Poland, and I took a trombone lesson with this gentleman. His name was Julius Pietrowicz.
Okay.
And he played with the National Symphony. I read a little biography on him. He escaped Nazis twice.
Yep.
I'm like, that's pretty badass. I go to his house. He doesn't speak English. I don't speak Polish. I took one of the students that we had with us. I'm I don't know, late 20s. I'm running around with this 20-year-old kid. I have no idea how to get around. I don't know. I learned 3 words. I don't know if it's 3 or 4 words. I learned how to say please ice cream, please beer, and please vodka.
Yes,
this is all I need to know.
The essentials, right?
Right. It's your 3 major food groups: ice cream, beer, and vodka. That's all I learned how to say. And that was it. I got on the train with this guy. I went into Warsaw, took a trombone lesson, and then ended up going back. And it was pretty wild. We also ended up going to the salt mines, which was pretty cool. And
Village, right?
And we went to Krakow. We heard the guy playing the trumpet. And then we spent a day at Auschwitz. So that's my Poland story. And
my grandmother spent 4 years there.
Wow.
And then a year in Ravensbrück.
Oh my God.
She survived, but she never talked about it.
Yeah. Walking around Auschwitz, there's nothing you can say. Like you go into, you see the cans of Cyclone B, you see the cans of cyanide, you see we walked into the gas chambers and stood there.
I know.
Like, holy crap, man. And to me, it's crazy to hear these people that are Holocaust deniers. Like, dude, obviously you have not made this trip.
Well, some of them did, and they still deny, which is
Ridiculous.
Completely different story.
It completely is. Completely. So you're a married man?
Yes, I am.
And you've got a...
One son, 19.
19, very cool. Did you teach gun safety to your...
Oh, of course.
Of course. What time did you do? How old was your son?
Well, my son was 15 when we started, and you know, the funny thing is that initially he wasn't that much into this, saying, well, you know, maybe I'll go shoot with you, but I'm not interested anymore.
Yeah.
But he got hooked up, and recently he spent a summer working at the shooting range to get some additional income. And I said,
that's cool.
Good for you. Learn something. I mean, you don't have to use it, but you should know how to use this stuff.
Yeah, if they're going to be in the house, it's important, and I talk about this with a lot of people. If you're going to have a gun in the house, it's important to teach everyone how to be safe with it.
Yep.
They don't have to like it. They don't have to go shooting. They don't have to. They just need to know how to be safe, so they don't pick it up and show someone and accidentally shoot themselves or shoot someone else.
Well, you know, then again, with Polish regulations, that would be a hard thing to achieve because we need to keep the guns in safe. But still, right?
Still, you know what? My kids, both my kids, when they turned 15, they got their FID card, which means they could buy or possess non-large capacity rifles or shotguns. There, in Massachusetts, we have an unauthorized person is someone that doesn't have a license.
Okay.
They can't have access to the firearms. But my kids are a hell of a lot smarter than I am. They can figure out where the keys are. They can figure out where Dad keeps the guns, and they can, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Not that they would, but.
I mean, you know, regardless of where and how you keep your guns, safety is a must for everyone. And that's that.
Absolutely, absolutely. I had a couple guns. I had a suitcase stolen from me about 12 years ago in Providence, Rhode Island. I had 4 handguns with me. My handguns were locked in secure containers. Okay. And the guy that stole my suitcase broke into all of them. They broke into the suitcases. The coolest, quick version of the story is I got all my guns back eventually, but they were locked in security, and people still break into stuff. So, you know, if people are going to do something bad, they're going to do something bad regardless of all the safety precautions.
Absolutely.
Did you teach your wife gun safety? Is she into shooting? How does she feel about all this?
Well, she's not shooting. She's okay with that. She knows the safeties, but she's not shooting herself. her choice.
That's cool. That's cool. What else? How long are you here for?
Well,
Did you just come to the United States just to come to Phoenix?
Yeah, just for the conference.
Wow.
So it's gonna be the full 3 days when I'm here on American soil. Flying back today.
You said you went to the NRA.
Well, that was 2 years ago. Tim Knight was kind enough to actually extend the invitation.
So how is it that you're from Poland, you're hanging out with all the cool guys?
Well,
How does this happen?
with Tim, that was interesting stuff because one of our members, Katya, she actually reached out in a call to Tim for some help, and well, you know Tim, right? He's an all-out guy, so he simply helped us out, and we've been looking some kind of a cooperation with the NRA to exchange the information, to exchange the notes, to cooperate, and see. And Tim said, "Yeah, come over, let's talk."
Wow.
So that's what we did. And
That's great.
For me, this is the perfect example of the fact that regardless of what anyone else is saying, the world is working on the personal relations. You need to reach out to people. You need to try to connect with people, not the systems, not the communication, just people. People work with people, and then we achieve the best results possible.
That is kick-ass. That is a great point.
And again, I'm not sure if Tim will kick my ass or not, but he's the first American and the first honorary member of Firearms United ever. I just brought him his card 2 days ago.
That's cool. That is cool. That is way cool. All right, so tell us more about you. I'm trying to get a collage of people asking if you had to talk to a new gun owner or someone who is reluctant about getting a gun. What kind of things would you say to them? What would you do?
Well, first of all, I would take that person to a range, right? To show them the safety first, and to try to convince them to shoot. I mean, all my neighbors, I've took them at my own expense to a shooting range.
Yeah.
Majority of them did not hook up, but a friend of mine who's living across the street, he's actually a gun owner right now. He's shooting with me.
Oh, that's cool.
Because I believe that this is the best way to convince someone, and then to have a shotgun and a watermelon as the last shooting experience.
That's awesome.
I mean, I've never seen a person who wasn't hooked up on shooting a 12 gauge at the watermelon.
That's pretty cool. I was actually took someone shooting last weekend. It was a student. They got their license. They took a class, whatever, a year and a half ago, and they wanted to go shooting for the first time. They're like, I never shot a handgun, but I want to get a handgun. Can you teach me? Of course. So I'm at the range, minding my own business, and then these guys came up. They started with water jugs, and then we see them bring out a watermelon.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny. I stopped. I'm like, we need to watch these guys shoot a watermelon.
Absolutely.
That was cool. They were using handguns, but they weren't using a 12 gauge. But that would have been pretty funny. Very, very cool. Very cool. Tell us more. Tell us more about you. What do you like? How do you see Firearms United in the future?
Well, for us at the moment, it's the biggest fight is to try to survive the new angle of attack coming from the Brussels, which is they try to ban lead ammunition. With a typical story, it's unsafe for animals.
Right.
That's not completely true. And
it's only unsafe for animals if it goes in them.
Yeah, absolutely. Same goes for humans, right?
Right.
No, but you know what they're trying to do? They're trying to actually prevent a situation that we have access to a reasonably priced ammunition for our hobby, because what they're trying to preach right now in Europe is that the only safe alternative to lead is bismuth. But bismuth is like 10 times more expensive than lead, right? So imagine that overnight the cost of ammunition and shooting goes skyrockets, right? And even that is bollocks from the left side, because Denmark is a country which first proposed using of bismuth, and you could buy a bismuth ammunition there for some time. Then they've actually put it on the list of the things you can't buy anymore, because excavation of bismuth is very damaging to the environment.
Oh my god.
So they're trying. You have Bloomberg and Soros. We have just Soros, but it's the same, right?
Right. This is what I'm learning with my first international passenger on riding shotgun with Charlie. The anti-gun wackos are the anti-gun wackos. They're the same. In California, they want to ban ammunition as well. Oh, the lead's bad for the earth. Dude, the lead came from the earth, didn't it? It can't be bad for it.
Well, but the thing is that when you talk to the scientists, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even if you put a lead on the ground outside of this car, in few days it will oxidize.
Yeah.
And the oxidation will prevent the actual lead, which is poisonous, to get into a ground or water or anything. So the facts do not support the theory that the lead ammunition is that damaging as they claim.
Oh my God. Idiots. Knuckleheads, whatever. It's stupid. They do the same stuff here. They try to change the ammunition. You can only have this ammunition. It's going to cost more. Drive the price up. Make it harder to purchase, harder to make, harder to have places to go to.
Well,
it's the same. It's the same.
That was the situation 2 years ago in France when the left-wing loonies just wanted to increase a tax on the firearms and ammunition in order to make it prohibitive to be bought. And imagine what the proposal on the table was that there should be a taxation on firearms, 700%.
700%.
Yeah.
So a $100 gun is going to cost you $800.
Yeah. I mean, it
God.
died, right? But that was the idea, to make it so expensive that no one can afford it.
It's the same tactics they use here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
700% on firearms.
700%. That's insane.
It is.
That is completely insane.
And still, we're talking about a tax put on a law-abiding citizens. It doesn't change the crime level. It doesn't serve the public safety in any way.
No, not at all. It really doesn't. It makes it so the rich elite folks are the ones that can only do this because they're the only ones that can afford it. Which means that people that live in a low income area, not it's a 700% tax. Even the people that have a middle income are not going to be able to not be able to do this. That's crazy talk.
It is
crazy talk. Anti-gunners are the same all over the world. This is what I'm learning. Holy moly. All right, listen, we are almost where we need to be. We're almost back at the hotel. How can people find Firearm United and all the stuff that you guys do?
Firearms-united.com. You can find all the information about us on there. You can find us on Facebook, Firearms United Network. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on YouTube.
All the same stuff we have in America?
Absolutely.
That's cool.
Until the moment the YouTube will close us down.
Right. People have asked me if I've had any backlash against YouTube. I don't have any backlash with the gun grams, and I haven't had any with riding shotgun. I'm like, it's two people in a car talking. Like, it's not threatening, and it's just two people in a car talking. That's all we're doing, and hopefully they don't find that offensive or find the need to block two people talking.
No, but then again, this is also a symptom of a sickness, right? Because we are discussing right now if our talk in a car is offensive enough for YouTube to close the channel or not. I mean, where the world is going on with this?
Yeah, and I mean that's eliminating our First Amendment rights.
Yeah, absolutely.
And do you guys call it your Second Amendment rights because you don't have a Second Amendment?
No, but
interesting.
But we take it from you guys, right? We just want to have a Second Amendment. I mean, the Czech guys were trying to get one 2 years ago. Unfortunately, the Senate failed them. There was not enough votes. Although the vote was in favor to include that into Czech Republic Constitution, it wasn't enough of the yes votes to actually have it in place.
Wow.
If that would happen, we would have the first country in Europe to actually have the Second Amendment in the Constitution.
That's cool.
But we'll still work on this.
Would you make it the Second Amendment in your Constitution?
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool.
I think that this is the only way to protect our rights. I mean, anything less than the Constitution can be changed at will. I don't want that. I want to have my rights secured.
Kick ass. Awesome. Tomasz, thank you so much for being on the show.
Pleasure is mine.
I'm going to put links to all of the information to Firearms United. And
I'll shoot them to you.
That'll be perfect. Everyone else, please watch, ride, and share Riding Shotgun with Charlie, because we are trying to get the stagecoach across America and Europe. I love this.
Absolutely.
Right?
Be my guest.
check out Riding Shotgun on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on iHeartRadio. Also check out the Self-Defense Radio Network, SDRN. SDRN.us. It's all of your pro-freedom podcasts in the same place. Again, thank you so much, Tomasz.
Sure, the pleasure is mine. Thank you very much for having me.
My honor. Thanks for answering the call to, hey, does anyone want to get in the car with a complete stranger and drive around and talk about gun stuff?
Well, we have application for that these days.
All right, the application is pretty low. It's not that difficult. I don't have a difficult,
No, I'm just joking,
process.
right? It's like a grandmother was telling me never go to a car with a stranger. Right now I have an application to do so.
This is pretty funny. I've interviewed a lot of people now, and I absolutely love it. But I will message people that I don't know, that know people I do know, and they'll contact, like, I contacted a woman in Maine, and she knows some other people that I know. So the woman in Maine contacted Robin Sandoval, and she's like, all right, this Charlie Cook guy getting in the car, is this okay? And they're like, oh my God, it's great.
Perfect.
Right, because we call it stranger danger, right? So I'm trying to get through the stranger danger, all the stuff your parents said don't do. Don't talk to strangers. Don't get in the car with strangers. This is all I do. That's how I roll.
Perfect. Thank
awesome.
you.
All right, well, listen, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks a lot.
Cheers. Bye-bye.